NBA playoffs continue on Tuesday night, May the 6th. We've got two more games, 7 and 9:30 Eastern, both on TNT National TV. I'm going to give you free play side total player props covering both games, Pacers, Cavs, and Warriors, Timberwolves right here, right now. Hi, this is Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, right back here on WagerTalk TV. And as the NBA often does, we're getting a game two before we even get a game one. But that's how this rolls because the Cleveland series did start even before the game 7 was played on Sunday between the Warriors and Rockets. And now game 2 takes place between the Pacers and Cavs before the Warriors play game 1 against the T-Wolves. You get the point. The NBA gets it in when they can. And this is a pretty interesting matchup because Cleveland, I don't want to say laid an egg, but obviously as an 8-point favorite, a very disappointing loss in game 1 against a Pacers squad that had a little bit of rest. It wasn't like they were coming off of game 7, but I thought the spot was good for Cleveland in game 1, and they did not get it done on the surface. But if you dig a little bit deeper into the game and the box score, you'll see that maybe it was a misleading win by the Pacers. First of all, Darius Garland missed his 3rd straight game. He is listed as questionable for Tuesday night with the lingering toe injury, which he suffered during the regular season. Had over 40 combined points in games 1 and 2 against the Heat. They sat him out. It didn't matter. Cleveland romped Miami. I mentioned this in the game 1 video that the 122-point margin of victory against the Heat was the most in any NBA playoff series in history. So it was the most dominating playoff series win ever, and they did so without Garland in half the games. But it did matter in game 1, and he is listed as questionable, so we got to keep an eye on it. Line is now -10 after being -8 in game 1. So obviously the betting markets maybe expect him to be there or think it's not going to matter. But what I want to point out more so about the game 1 box score is the 3-point disparity. And once again, we talk about this so much in college basketball, and it really can dictate one game to the next when teams look really good or really bad, because all basketball teams, college and pro, live and die by the 3 nowadays. And the Indiana Pacers got it done from 3-point range, to say the least. In fact, they made 19 threes. The Cavs made only 9. That means Indiana was plus 30 from 3-point range, yet they only won by 9. In fact, Indiana was plus 1 from the free throw line, 14-13. That means Cleveland was plus 22 points, and they were. They had 11 more 2-point field goals than Indiana. I think that is very important in this game 2 rematch now because it shows that Cleveland was doing what they want down low. And yes, if Indiana outscores Cleveland by 30 from 3-point range again, they're going to cover. They might even win outright. I don't expect that to happen. I look for the Cavs to bounce back here. And the public looks like they're going to be on the Pacers. They see them win outright as an 8-point dog. Public can't understand how now they can be a 10-point dog. And that's because the zigzag works with quality teams, Class A teams. And that is exactly what the Cavs are, the best record in the East this year. Now, granted, Boston was favored to win the Eastern Conference before this round started. So I'm not going to say the Cavs are the best team in the East. They're the second best team in the East, in my opinion. But they got a lot of good metrics, really good offensive team. And even with Garland maybe still out, I look for a bounce-back spot for Cleveland here in game 2. So if you're going to play it, I would lay it. Don't let the big numbers scare you because, once again, a lot of 3-point disparity in that first game is why Indiana pulled the upset. Cleveland actually led in the 4th, even getting vastly outscored from 3-point range. So I think they do bounce back here in game 2. But keep an eye on Darius Garland. Might even want to wait to play it pregame or in-game, and see if this line moves, whether he's in or out. Player props. I do look for some Indiana players to regress in this game. Let's dig into the box score for game 1. Tyrese Halliburton had a big game, 22 points, 9 for 15 shooting, and he only had 13 assists only. He's one of the best assist guys in the league. Never looking to play Halliburton assist props under. I mentioned this in game 1, but he does occasionally have some off-scoring nights. In fact, a couple of the regular season head-to-heads against Cleveland, he was below average scoring. So after the big night, 22 points, 9 for 15 shooting, maybe play Halliburton points under. I would do that more so than the assist. So I do look for him to regress a little bit. Miles Turner, 5 for 9 at 13 points. He can't shoot much better. Nesmith was 5 for 8 with 17 points. I think Turner and Nesmith both might regress as well. So those are a few Indiana players you could maybe look to play some point props under in game 2 if they regress, as I expect they will, especially if they regress from 3-point range. And Nimbrod was 5 for 6 from 3, 23 points. He probably regresses a bit as well. Let's look at the Cleveland props. A little tricky, obviously, without knowing the status of Darius Garland, to say the least. I mean, he's now missed 3 straight playoff games. He's listed as questionable. That's going to really dictate which guys step up. But Evan Mobley was 9 for 13 with 20 points. I mentioned the edge that Cleveland had from 2-point range down low. I don't think that's going to change in this game. So, yes, he probably gets less shot attempts if Garland is in the lineup. But Mobley over would be the only way I would play it. And we'll keep an eye on the Garland status. Strauss was just 2 for 9 shooting, including 2 for 8 from three. He only had 7 points, but played 32 minutes. I look for him to have a better game. His over could be worth a look. And Donovan Mitchell, we never fade superstars. It's over or pass. Yes, he had 33 points, 13 for 30 shooting. And yes, if Garland is in the lineup, he's not going to get that many shot attempts. But he was only 1 for 11 from three-point range. That's what I want to point out, that once again, his three-point numbers were not good. If Garland is in the game, I actually think that opens up more looks for Mitchell from three. So a little bit of a contrarian call here. If Garland does play, I like Mitchell's three-point props over more so than his overall game props because he'll probably get less shot attempts. And even if Garland doesn't play, Mitchell's going to shoot better than 1 for 11 from three. So Mitchell over on his three-point props, made, attempts, anything you want to play, I think is worth a look with Donovan Mitchell. Only 1 for 11 from three in game one, and that's the main reason the Cavs did not win. All right, that's your game one at 7 o'clock. Game two, rather, in the East, 7 o'clock Eastern on TNT. The first game on TNT, game one on TNT. Going to get to the game one between the Warriors and T-Wolves here in a moment. Quick reminder, now is a great time to be an all-sports client, and there's multiple reasons why. First of all, 2 special offers I'm going to give you in a second here. But don't forget, this time last year, we went on a monster run, and it was not a coincidence. I've dominated the NBA playoffs for decades. We were number 1 overall last year in profit in the NBA at WagerTalk, number 1 all time in the history of WagerTalk and NBA profit. Also number 1 last year in best bet profit in baseball. We won over 100 units in baseball alone. In fact, my all sports clients had already doubled their bankroll by the end of August last summer, and we finished up over 133 units for the year in all sports. That includes college and pro football, Major League Baseball, college and pro basketball, the 5 sports I handicap. Right now, we got a day remaining. Last chance. This is your last chance, actually, on Tuesday to get the 2 weeks and get the third week free. So you buy the 2 weeks, we include the third week for free. This is your last chance, your last day to do so. That gets it down to $9.50 a day, no promo code needed. Or if you're ready to take a serious, long-term, consistent investment approach to sports betting, the 1-year all-access promo code is still available with an instant $811 discount. That promo code is SM365. It gets you the 1-year all-access, football, baseball, and basketball combined for just $3 a day. That works out to about $1 a play because I average 2 to 3 best bets per day on average. I'm very selective. If a game is strong and I'm using it, I give it to my clients. And that is why I've won consistently now for 29 straight years as a professional handicapper since I began in 1996. If you're ready to take a serious investment approach, this is honestly the best time of year to get on board. And to do so, you save $811 with that discount code SM365. Full details are on my page, along with the daily free play. Don't forget, 2 to 3 plays on average. It means that last cut, that remaining opinion is pretty strong still. I put that up for free for everyone. So check out the daily free play. Check out the special offers and my strong best bets for Tuesday. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Get there quicker. WT.buzz/SM. All right, let's turn our attention now to the Western Conference, and this is game one between the Warriors and T-Wolves, 9:30 Eastern, also on TNT Tuesday night. And in this one, we've seen the money once again come in on the favorite. You know, I talked about how the Cavs went from 8.5 to 10. Well, Minnesota opened briefly 5.5, quickly bet up to 7, and that is a sharp money move because I actually see the public leaning a little bit towards the Warriors. And not a surprise. They just saw Golden State close out Houston on the road. But Curry looked tired. What do you have? 3 points at the half, I believe, missing open shots. I've said this from the start. The Warriors are an aging team, and you do have to worry about fatigue. And now having to turn around, travel again, and play their second game in 3 nights in a different location after a tough game 7. This is a terrible setup for Golden State. Minnesota, meanwhile, looked good against the Lakers, taking care of the Lakers as an underdog 4 out of 5 games. They won 3 of those games. They were a dog in 3 of those 5. They won 2 of the 3 outright as a dog. And now they've had 5 days of rest and prep, and they'll be ready to roll here at home. And yes, in the regular season, it's a little misleading because if you look at the results, you'll say, well, the Warriors look pretty good. They won the final 3 games in this series, but I don't put much stock into the regular season games. Minnesota won the first game in December. 2 days later, they lost the rematch. That was kind of a zigzag turnaround spot. And then, yes, they lost a late December and mid-January game to Golden State. And Golden State won them both actually outright as dogs. But keep in mind, Jimmy Butler wasn't in the lineup for any of those games yet. This is a different Warriors squad now. And Minnesota is playoff tested after their run last season. They look good against the Lakers. Minnesota was a team I really felt like underachieved all season. If you look at the overall metrics, they were much better than their seed would indicate. In fact, going by net rating, and net rating is not everything, I get that. But the Minnesota Timberwolves were the 4th best team in the NBA this year in net rating. Who were they behind? Oklahoma City, Boston, and Cleveland. So if you look at net rating, the T-Wolves, you can argue with the fourth best team in the NBA, second best team in the West. Warriors, meanwhile, were 10th in net rating. So, once again, they were decent, but I think they're an aging squad. They looked fatigued at times. Shooting percentage finally bounced back in Game 7 the other night, hit 48%. But keep in mind, this team had shot 42% or less in 4 of their previous 5 games against the Rockets. Now, Houston is a very good defensive team. I get that. But if you look at overall defensive efficiency rankings this year, Houston was 5th. Minnesota was 6th. So Minnesota technically is just as good defensively as Houston, and they're actually a better offensive team. T-Wolves were 8th offensively. Houston was only 12th. Golden State, meanwhile, offensive efficiency this year, 16th. T-Wolves were 8th. T-Wolves defensively, as I mentioned, 6th. Warriors 7th. So you could make an argument both defenses hold a little bit of an edge in this series. As far as the over-under, opening line on this game was 207.5. It's been bumped a little higher to 208.5. So once again, playoff basketball, usually more defensive intensity. We can't read, once again, much into the regular season matchups because Jimmy Butler was not in the lineup in any of those games. But my point is, I think the T-Wolves are the better team. I think they're in a great spot here in Game 1. So if you're going to play it, I would lay it. And something else I wanted to point out is that the overall series price is cheaper than the Game 1 money line. In fact, Minnesota opened as high as minus 190. It's been bet down a bit to minus 185, 180, even minus 175. So money's coming a little bit on the Warriors series, yet the money's coming on Minnesota Game 1. And I do agree the spot is better for Minnesota in Game 1. But once again, if the T-Wolves get up 1-0 as they should, do you really trust an aging and wary Golden State team to win 4 of the next 6? So I think Minnesota on the series at minus 180, even minus 175 is worth a look. And obviously that is correlated to them winning Game 1. So you got to pick you either play each for half a unit or play one stronger than the other. Don't play them both for a full unit because they're somewhat correlated. But I do think there's some value with the T-Wolves in the series, as this looks like a good spot for them in Game 1. And I do think they'll wear Minnesota will wear Golden State down, especially as the series goes. So Timberwolves series minus 175 or so could be worth a look. We don't do a lot of with series prices, but I wanted to mention that one. By the way, the Cleveland-Indiana series, Cleveland was almost minus 500 when it opened, minus 490. That's been cut in half now that they're down 0-1. It's down to minus 230, minus 240. Obviously, there's a little bit of value there now with them, but once again, with the Garland situation, I'd probably stay away from that series price. But I do like the Minnesota T-Wolves in the series because this looks like a good spot for them in Game 1. And if the Warriors are fatigued, I think we have to look at some of their player props under. I always say we don't fade superstars, but be careful with Curry. I'd probably just stay away from him in this game. Only had 3 points at the half in Game 7. He did score 30 or more in 3 of the 4 regular season meetings, but once again, Butler was not in the lineup with them. So I think Butler or Curry, one of them probably gets there. I don't think they both get there. So if you want to maybe play one of them under, this is probably the game to do so, but I'm never a fan of doing that. I'd rather focus on playing some of the secondary guys under, and we'll see how that plays out. But once again, maybe stay away from Curry, stay away from Butler, play some of the secondary guys under on the Golden State side. And then as far as Minnesota goes, obviously Anthony Edwards carries this team. Their most recent meeting, once again, the most recent meeting was over 3.5 months ago. It was mid-January. Edwards played 41 minutes, had 28 points. DiVincenzo had 28 points as well, which I thought was interesting. And he had 19. Edwards had 19 the game before that. Going back earlier in the season, Edwards had 27. And once again, in the first meeting, which was really early this season, he had 30. So once again, Edwards over would make sense. Not like it's some news break there, but once again, Anthony Edwards over would be the only way I'd play his props. Gobert is interesting. He had 17 in that first game. He only had 4 the second time they played, 18, and then he had 7. So he's been a real zigzag guy. Maybe stay neutral on him in Game 1, but looking ahead this series, if Gobert has a big scoring game, maybe want to come back and fade him in the next game. But I'm not sure Golden State matches up all that well against them. Julius Randle also, Gobert and Randle, 2 of the most overrated superstars. You've heard me say that quite often. And I would be lukewarm on both of them. They had in the mid-teens, 17 to 18 points in most of the games this year. Randle actually had 17 or less, I believe, in all 4 against Golden State. He didn't match up too well. So maybe Randle under at some points worth a look. Once again, I like Minnesota in Game 1. I think the Warriors could be a little fatigued on defense. So I'm not looking to play any guys under yet, but just some overall foreshadowing for this series. If Randle comes off a big game here, maybe we look to fade him in the next game. Mike Conley is a guy that maybe could go off in this game. We'll see. He only had 1 point in the most recent meeting off the bench in 18 minutes. And Conley only had 3 points the game before that against them. He had 12 points the second meeting and only had 13 points the first meeting. So once again, he didn't perform well, but I think that's somewhat being priced into the number. We'll see if anything changes. Mike Conley, points scored is around 6. They're not expecting him to get a lot of minutes. So do we maybe play him over? That'd be the only way I'd play that low number at 6 for total points. I even see him as low as 5.5 at some sports books. All right, there's an overall look at the series. I do like the T-Wolves in this series at minus 175. I think it's a cheap price considering they have a nice edge in game 1 and probably wear the Warriors down overall in the series. So a little bit of a free play series play for you there. Once again, if you're finding these videos useful, thumbs up, comment below. Let me know your thoughts on both of these games. Pacers, Cavs, game 2. Warriors, Timberwolves, game 1. How are you playing them on Tuesday night? Side total. What player props do you like? Hey, I read the comments. I reply back. Include some analysis if you have time. Let's learn and earn and win together here on WagerTalk TV. And once again, thumbs up, like, comment below, and I will keep doing every NBA playoff game every day as I've done so this entire postseason. And hey, don't forget, baseball videos starting to pop up more often as well. Trying to get you all some free baseball videos here during the week. Don't forget to click subscribe and click that bell for an instant alert so you never miss out when my free baseball and basketball videos are posted here on WagerTalk TV. And if you want baseball best bets, I have them on a daily basis for my clients. This is a great time to play in baseball. NBA best bets as well. And once again, you can get 2 weeks and get the third week free. This is your last day to do so. 1 day remaining on that special offer. No promo code. Buy 2 weeks, get the third week free, about $9.50 a day. Or if you're ready to take a serious investment approach to sports betting, I highly recommend the 1-year all access with promo code SM365 because that's an instant $811 discount. That gets it down to exactly $3 a day, about $1 a play, and that includes all of next year's college and pro football, college basketball season, the rest of the NBA playoffs this year, the next year's playoffs, all the regular season next year, rest of this year's baseball into next year's baseball. You get the point. 365 straight days and nights of all sports for about $1 a play with promo code SM365. Full details on my page, along with that bonus free play, that daily free play, that last cut that's just a bit outside is posted there as well. Check it out, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, and get there quicker with shortcut WT.buzz/SM. Don't forget to follow me on social media as well, at Steve Merril, 2 R's, 1 L, at Steve Merril on X and Instagram. You see it on your screen there, 2 R's, 1 L, at Steve Merril on social media. And also stay tuned here to WagerTalk TV because you know there's more free play videos coming up next.